Yes, I suppose I am. But you can hardly blame me, can you? You do understand the significance of this encounter, don't you? This is humankind's first contact with what I believe is an alien race. A race with technology that could be far superior to our own. Oh, we could learn so much from them. That's what disturbs me. Can't be a coincidence that these Starborn suddenly appeared after your experience at that temple. We know they're here to lay claim to the artifacts, but what's their true motivation? What aren't they telling us? They're certainly hostile, but I don't think they're here to completely annihilate us, or they would have done so already. Damn. Oh, if only we knew more about the Starborn. What their species is like, where they're from, how they're able to speak our language. I feel like a cadet on my very first day aboard a spaceship. My mind is absolutely swimming with questions. No, not time travelers. I don't think the science is there to support that theory. Their name alone, Starborn. There's some type of hidden meaning there. Something that feels very old, perhaps even ancient. Whatever the case may be, I can assure you that Constellation intends to get to the bottom of this mystery. No, we absolutely cannot allow them to continue their mission unchecked. Without a deep understanding of what the artifacts are, and why the Starborn want them so badly, we must stay the course. I certainly hope so. You know, it's funny. When I was a little girl, I'd lay on the ground and stare up at the stars. I was absolutely convinced they held a secret. I'd remain there for hours in silence, eyes closed, listening, waiting for the secret to be whispered in my ear. This encounter with the Starborn is that moment to me. The stars are finally whispering, and I need to hear what they have to say. I knew I could count on your support. Well then, I've certainly wasted enough of your valuable time. Just do be careful if you cross paths with these Starborn in the future. I wouldn't want to lose one of the most valuable members of Constellation. We should have a talk, when you have the time, of course.
You know, with just one look, you get my heart racing. It ain't fair. Hey, if you find a new pistol, I'd be obliged. If you must.
Excusez-moi. I have to talk about the Starborn. Do you have a second? You do, right? Right? How could we not talk about it for the rest of our lives? It could be the dawn of a new era of humanity. Or it could be an elaborate prank or any number of mundane explanations. I didn't detect any localized time distortion, which isn't required for that hypothesis, but... Oh, yeah? Joking. I knew that. Jeez. We just need more data. There has to be a way to draw them out and figure out where they're coming from. It's one of our few facts about them. It seemed very important to them, too. This could be a turning point for humanity, you know? Or it could be just the emergence of a powerful new faction, or some sort of elite military tech, or a gazillionaire with nothing else to do. All we know is that they wanted that artifact badly. Agreed. That is going to require more observations, more encounters with them. And who knows? Maybe we'll never see them again. Hey, Dusty. If you're ever thinking to yourself, I could really listen to Barrett's dulcet voice right now. Then instead of dreaming about me, stop by and say hello, okay? Neon. You think it would be peaceful with all those calm waters and beautiful sunsets. But I can't think of any town that's more stressful. Reusion, Infinity Ltd. And there you were, navigating corporate bureaucracy like a professional. I hear you. Look, I know Neon is going to be Neon, no matter what any of us do about it. But I'm glad you put a stop to that neural amp tech. Nothing good was going to come from that. What's not to trust about them? It's a machine designed to exploit human nature to eke out a couple of extra credits than last time. But at the end of the day, they're steered by humans. They are responsible for their direction. I guess we'll find out if we can trust them if you suddenly start coming after all of us, huh? Ha ha ha. But seriously though, I'm watching you. Anyway, not that I care a ton about the internal politics of some ethically dubious megacorp, but... So, Masako, huh? I mean, between her and Ularu Chen, I get it, but you don't trust her, do you? Well, I trust you, and I'm glad the choice was yours and not mine. Anyway, you didn't happen to pick up any investment tips while you were in there? Just kidding. I don't even want to know. Got my attention, Captain. Well, if it isn't our own Ranger. I hope you're not taking the job permanently. Costume party coming up, huh? Anyway, it suits you. Anyway, I'm just glad Ron Hope is gone. Those farmers are gone, but you prevented the next group of people from suffering. It was a hard choice that you made, but I'm proud of you, Captain. Got a moment? Let's catch up.
You've got something for me? Ron Hope was a real piece of work, wasn't he? Despicable is too kind a word. He held innocent people with little regard, treating their lives like numbers on a balance sheet. It's an absolute disgrace. I'm relieved to hear you say that. Letting him off the hook would have been a terrible injustice. Had you taken the money, this would have been a very different conversation. I'm proud of you. It took a lot of integrity to say no to that offer.
Hey, Dad. Want to hear a poem I wrote? It's called a haiku. I just read about them.
A haiku, huh? Well, sounds exciting. Let's hear it.
Okay. It's called Space.
Some of them will, and some of them won't. What happens to them isn't your fault. It's Ron Hope's. Well, I think I've lectured you enough. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me.
I'll copy down too.
When you have a moment, I'd like to speak to
I
you.
still don't know how you...
Handling those tricky decisions regarding Ryujin must have been difficult. In fact, I'm amazed you were able to deal with them at all. Those types of corporations remind me why I never ventured into business. I can't stand that way of life. It is disgusting. And I'm pleased you recognized that Ryujin almost made a grievous error in judgment. After all, based on your recommendation, they've ceased their work on that disturbing neuroamp technology. Why wouldn't I be pleased about your decision? Can you imagine if that technology had fallen into the wrong hands? The awful things you could force people to do. Oh, it's terribly frightening. Yes, quite. Well, I've certainly taken up enough of your time. Thanks for letting me get that off my mind. Thanks for giving me a moment of your time. I promise this won't take long. I thought you deserved to know how proud I am that you chose to side with the United Colonies and put an end to the Crimson Fleet. You've almost single-handedly saved the settled systems from one of its most dangerous enemies. I can't possibly commend you highly enough. Well, I'm not sure I deserve that, but I appreciate it all the same. What I want to know is what motivated you into making the right decision. You had Crix's legacy in hand, and you could have easily taken it to the Key. Instead, you flew it to the Vigilance. Yes, that would have been unfortunate. The Crimson Fleet would have had enough wealth to fund their operation for decades. So, no regrets betraying Delgado then? I imagine you and he formed quite a partnership right up until the end. Agreed. With Delgado safely tucked away in a UC prison, things will certainly be quieter in the spaceways for a while. I suppose my final concern is how long this newfound peace will last. I wish I could share your optimism. My largest concern are the reports that Neva Mora was never captured or killed. My hope is that she was smart and went into permanent exile. I suppose only time will tell. Well, it appears I've soured the mood of our lovely conversation. I trust my mindless prattle hasn't been too much of a bother. Thanks for taking the time to listen.
Read any good books lately?
When you have a few moments, there's something I'd like to discuss.
Sometimes I just want to turn off the grav drive so we can float around. Worried? No, I think it's fascinating. I know they maybe seem scary at first, but what if it's just a threat display? You know how lots of species will puff themselves up or show off their teeth and growl to scare off anything they don't like. No, I get that. Just maybe it's not as bad as it looks. That's all. Sure sounds like we haven't seen the last of them, so I guess we'll see what happens. Bye!
Something you need? Thanks for taking the time to talk. I wanted to ask you about the artifact you found on Vectera. When you pulled it from the rock, held it in your hands for the first time, how did you feel? No, I don't think you understand. I know about the visions, the light, and the music. How did you feel inside? What were your thoughts? Oh my goodness. That must have been terrifying. When it comes to the artifacts, it never ceases to amaze me how the science, well, simply fails. If there is, the artifacts are doing a heck of a job hiding it. The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. Quite the mystery. Agreed. Unfortunately, there's no way that I know of to reply, and believe me, I've been trying to gather data on the damn things for years. Not much, I'm afraid. All I have to show for my efforts are eyewitness accounts, scores of inconclusive metallurgical test results, and wild theories. Oh, no, not at all. There's so much going on there, I can't afford to divert all of our resources, but I have classified the artifacts as a priority project. Frustrating? No. Bewildering? Yes. It would be, oh, well, an explorer's dream to solve a mystery like this. I knew I picked the right person for the job. Look, I wanted to thank you for taking the time to talk, and for keeping an open mind. And I also wanted to say, well, I'm pleased we're on this journey together. It's the best decision I've made in quite a long time. Yeah, what is it? Have something for me? Bye-bye.
Have any new books for me?
Do you need something? I can't imagine how hard it was to be under all that pressure. A leader knows that protecting regular folk is not just a responsibility, but a privilege. And I'm proud to call you my captain. Modest, too. They're gonna make a statue out of you, or carve your face on a moon or something. What you did took nerves. Befriending Delgado like that, it was a huge risk. If he had gotten to you, convinced you to side with them, I don't know what we'd be dealing with right now. Good. He deserved what he got for what he did and for what he would have done. And if they regroup after all this, they'll be weaker next time. All thanks to you. That's the hope and the dream. But if they do, we'll deal with it. Simple as that. Of course. The reality of exploration is the balancing of supplies. Handling this whole captain thing really well, you know.